Alright, welcome once again to Summoner's Rift. CJ Entus taking on the KOO Tigers. CJ going to try to tie it up after a very close game one that KOO just barely pulled out after Ambition. Was not able to position himself well. He's trying the Evelyn again anyway, though. And a very different comp coming at them from CJ.
Two cleanses coming in from the KOO Tigers. They see the massive crowd control threat.
Probably wise.
And they want to nip it in the bud. Smeb will not be going for any kind of smite build on this Shyvana, just going straight up. Now, they are going to get away with a little bit less damage simply because Shyvana has a lot of AoE damage in the late game. And it's important to mention that she's probably going to be building Blade first because there's a Lulu in the game. Doesn't need to go directly into the tank stats, still going to be viable in the team fights. And Blade Shyvana into Shen is a nightmare. There's going to be a lot of proxy farming if that happens. Shen cannot trade with the Shyvana. You have to get armor and magic resist to deal with the mixed damage out of Shyvana. It's really quite good.
So will we see a lane swap then? Or will we see CJ, well, will we see CJ try to avoid that?
CJ really want the 2v2. There's a reason why even in high CC comps you still take someone a heal, and that's to get through the laning phase. It, of course, heals both members of the duo lane. So
BO 5 nghĩa là gì anh Quỳ? Thắng 5 trận đó. Đánh 5 trận đó. Lá rồi. Quỳ. Đưa rồi.
dodging the 2v2 would be a massive thing for the KOO Tigers to pick up, but that's why we saw the aggressive invade at level 1 from CJ. They wanted as much information as possible to get this 2v2.
Well, that said, KOO sees that Shen is in the top side right now, so they're opting into the 2v2.
Opt into it at your peril.
They're going for it. We'll see what Prey and Gorilla can do. Obviously, they have plenty of poke that they can throw on to CJ as well.
Jungle follow start for Shyvana and Shen, respectively. Now remember, if Shyvana did look to go, you could have been greedy here if you were Smeb. You could have gone for the extended follow just because the DPS Shyvana can put out in a jungle follow far outranges that Shy can do on the more single target Shen.
Quick burnout can mean quite a bit. Well, looks like level 2 will be coming in first for Prey and Gorilla. They have successfully bullied Space and Madlife off of that lane.
Yeah, and you'd kind of expect that with the melee support like Madlife. Even if you do have a way to close with the Zenith Blade, you're going to just get poked so hard and maybe even stunned by Kennen that it's tough to be aggressive early on.
Yeah, realistically, you can't do anything with Leon until level 3.
Yeah. Or level 2 if you want to be super aggressive and go in with the Zenith Blade Q.
Ignite. Also the summoner spell, so level 2 can sometimes work, but again, it's the quick ping of level 2, otherwise sitting back to level 3.
I do it every game with Leona.
Just drop the Ignite.
That's right, you just get in there. Even if you don't get a kill, you force their support out of lane, and then you're like, no, I win.
Oh, that's a nice taunt from Shy. Gets two turret shots onto Smeb.
Yeah, that does not help the Shyvana lane.
It's not really going to tilt until Shyvana starts getting some more intense damage items.
But will Shyvana tilt? Smeb tilt.
Seeing Space's all-time Ashe, not much of a sample size, just 2 wins. Prey has played the Callisto a couple of times this season, hasn't been able to get much on.
Speaking in the mid lane, KOO having to burn that flash right away. Used both summoners to get out of that one. Flash used by Hojin for the knockup, but a pretty good trade overall for KOO Tigers there.
I really like that KOO had an answer to an early CJ Shen pick. This is definitely a calculated composition to attack CJ Entus when they know that the Shen has been very central to their wins. Now, can they pull it off? Because we have to see a high amount of synergy between Kuro and Smeb here, because these are the two champions, Lulu and Shyvana, that can win them this game.
Smeb's pushed up without any wards, and he may pay for it. Nice taunt onto Smeb. He's in a little trouble. Burns that flash right away. Can they catch him? Flash from Shy. They're getting so close. Smeb tries to make it happen, but first blood goes to CJ, goes to Ambition. Shy or Smeb without any vision.
Certainly a calculated risk to leave up the 32.3 KDA 5-1 Shen, but so far being punished for it. I wondered if he was going to go super carry mode, Smeb, and pick up something like the Riven, which isn't ideal in the early laning phase, but can get to the point where it's kill pressure. Speaking of kill pressure, it's a nice little trade on to Gorilla, but backs away.
A lot of damage on the Mad Life as well, and they're able to do quite a bit. That stun is just such a big concern because, I mean, yeah, Leona has a stun too, but it's a melee stun. Gorilla can get you from range. Plus, he can just pepper you with spears, and nobody wants that.
That top lane First Blood is such a huge part of this game because they needed this Shyvana to start doing work early to be a threat against Shy. Now falling behind when it comes to CS, giving up the First Blood gold. Fortunately for KOO, not to Shy, but this was a matchup that they came in expecting to win.
And after the draft, think of the potential they would have had. Let's say Shyvana is proxy farming under the turret of Shen. Suddenly we've seen reliably that Prey and Gorilla have been pushed up, and Lulu, of course, has lots of wave clear options. That would have all facilitated all that much pressure on the map. Hojin getting in the face of Evelynn, scrapping, making her accountable, and KOO taking over the game. But now, maybe that's all undone by that First Blood. It's a smart pathing from Ambition.
Yeah, I mean, Smeb's going to need to be really, really careful regardless. As this lane goes on, he's catching up in CS pretty quickly. But can he actually become a bully after dying once already in lane?
Hojin's here. No wards in the brush. Mad Life
might
get a little too close.
Knock up on the Mad Life. They're going to try to get that stun. There it is. Mad Life has to flash. Can they get him? Flash from Prey. Is he ignite enough? No, not quite. One tick away. Now Gorilla may get burned down. Space very low, though. Prey gets the kill anyway. Whoa, Space, you stuck around a bit too long there, buddy.
It's a really nice job by Hojin to take the turret aggro, get a couple of shots just to facilitate the kill onto Space critically. Now they can reset the wave exactly where they want it and pick up a kill despite having the cleanse versus heal, laning summoner mismatch.
That is the second time in a row now that KOO Tigers have just simply outplayed CJ in a bottom lane engage early in the game. I think at this point you just better play safe, Space. You can't fight these guys.
Well, and as we talked about, well, hey, here's a problem for the KOO Tigers. Well, a problem for CJ is their composition is really, really low damage compared to KOO. Both low damage comps, but I definitely put my chips on the KOO Tigers. It's 6 items in this game because you have the Kalista who will be able to hit multiple targets. The Shyvana will vastly outdamage the Shen in the late game. And so, with the Ashe going down early, powering up the Kalista could be a problem. And here we go.
Trying to KOKO. There's the Whimsy. KOKO able to get the command protect on himself. Had no summoners. That may have been a bit of a reach for KOO, but hey, I mean, if he's got no summoners, why not give it a try?
There's hope for CJ in the late game. At least Ashe, even though she's traditionally a lower damage carry, can itemize for the highest single target damage, but with the Infinity Edge, Prey's going to be in an awkward position, especially if he goes for the Blade of the Ruin King and, say, the Hurricane that we're kind of expecting. If he goes for the lower damage potential, even getting through the Leona Shen might be a struggle for KOO. So even though they have Evelynn in the jungle who can't get super tanky compared to, say, a true tank jungler like Rek'Sai, there is a late game scenario where Prey will struggle to push the damage and get through the tank front line of Shen and Leona.
Yeah, but Shyvana can just go right over the top.
True.
Well, Smeb certainly keeping up more or less in the top lane. Still down by a considerable amount in CS, actually. It's kind of interesting to see.
I'm going for the Hex Drinker first. So looking to absorb some of Shy's damage here while putting out a good deal of his own, helping him out against Evelynn too, coming out of the jungle.
I guess he kind of is obligated now.
It seems like Ambition has kind of understood what you were saying and is going to go for at least the minimum, the Rune Glaive. Is there any validity to say the Rylai's that we're seeing a lot of the NA Evelynn players pick up? Because a 40%, 1 second, 2 second cooldown slow can really help with picks, and this comp is all about the pick potential.
They have to isolate those targets. They have to surprise people with Space's arrows from out of the black of the fog of war. And here we go.
Mad Life gets on to Prey a little bit. Fate's Call brings Gorilla back in, and so Shy, Fate's Call's down, but they don't really get anything out of it.
Kalista things.
Just Kalista things.
So aggressive if you're Cannon. Get in the enemy's face, draw out such an important cooldown, and no punishment.
Yeah, you can't try to lock down a support in a Kalista lane. It's just going to get pulled out with the Fate's Call, as we just saw.
They were hoping to pick up a kill, transition it into the first dragon, put a timer on this game, but the result, just the use of 2 summoners with no impact whatsoever.
Now, Shy uses teleport to get back up to lane. He wants to stay ahead of Smeb, but is giving KOO the TP advantage too much of a problem for CJ here?
You're choosing between 2 bad options, though. You walk up to top late. Maybe you can never get lane control. Maybe you're so far behind in experience that finally Shyvana can get this proxy farm on. So they focused on the laning. Ambition's here.
Oh, Ambition coming in. Yeah, Smeb trying to get away. He does have flash,
and
so he should be able to make it. Yep, and ult, so he's fine. Now that he's got level 6, it's going to be much, much harder to catch Smeb up in top lane.
And it's flash, Shyvana. We just see so rarely, and now, you know, we're talking about, what, 1,000 range worth of escape? Very, very safe.
Yeah. It's amazing they got the gank on him when they did, really.
Okay, so he's switching gears now over to Vamp Scepter. So apparently Smeb has reevaluated his fortunes in this top lane and feels like, hey, I can go for this now. I don't need necessarily to have that Hex Drinker first when I really just wanted to go Blade of the Ruined King this entire time.
Feels safe enough.
And Merc Treads obviously will be a very obvious build path out of the non-magic mantle, so no punishment there.
Yeah, not really. Wow, Prey is so far ahead of CS on the space right now, but by the same token, KOO's got a bit of a lead too.
Yeah, big lead in the top 2 for Shy.
True.
That Smeb has been held down a little bit by giving up that first blood. Now, will we see a dive here? This is a great time to do it.
Maybe.
Big
I mean,
ward
Gorilla
down.
coming in. There's Hojin. Drill taking a bit of damage. He's going to flash. There's the slicing mouse from Space. Gets stunned. Madlife on the outside. A little bit of trouble, too. Can they catch Space? Solar Flare drop. There's the kill on the Madlife. But can they get the 80 carry? They will. All 5 members of the KOO Tigers come down to make that one work.
Shy using his teleport just to defend his turret is so thoroughly punished. Oh, they can take a turret, they can take a dragon. KOO have all the options at 11 minutes.
Now, getting those 2 kills in the dragons is so nice. He can get the turret on the way out. KOO very much on his own now.
Shy, one thing you can't do on Shen is really punish anything. You don't have those options until you have Sunfire, until you have damage. Ambition's around.
Oh, it'd be dangerous to try something. He's going to try to get in there and steal it. Can't do it. Shen ulting in onto him.
Oh, they're backing away.
To fight that. Yeah, well, Crow gets taunted. There we go. Shockwave doesn't miss him. Flash is used by the KOO Tigers. Now, Shy could have stayed in the top lane and done damage to the top turret, but they chose to come down and try to make something happen. They got a lot of summoners, but not much else. Let's watch that dive down in bot again.
Yeah, and they did jump the gun a little bit here, but that's because Madlife had the pink ward down. They were sort of forced into it. Gorilla pulls the trigger anyway. Now Smeb splits back, takes out Space with the Shyvana. That's the big threat. Space, there's no way for him to get away from an angry Shyvana.
Yeah. Pretty much. And that's going to be a problem we're going to see Space deal with for the entire rest of the game now, is you just can't stop a dragon from jumping on you. I guess you can use the arrow, you can use the ultimate, but it's only going to stop it for just a second.
The emergence of Ashe this week, people were wondering what exactly is it that she brings, and of course the initiation is there, but the downside is real. Teams are obviously now expecting it and theorizing different ways to deal with it.
Yeah.
So now looking to trade with Shy in the jungle.
It begins. Proxy farming, the jungle stealing. This is what they were worried about, and Smeb is largely caught up in that CS deficit, only about 13 down right now, which isn't really the biggest deal.
Yeah.
Just coming back to Ashe, the laning phase is always a problem for this champion. 30 CS behind a cleanse AD carry shows just the disparity between the laning power of Kalista and the Ashe.
Hojin finds the red buff, finds Ambition. Smeb is right there as well, too. Are they going to try to take out Smeb? Hojin and Kuro right there. So Kuro with the wild growth available makes it so that there's really no punishment CJ can inflict on this red buff steal.
And I love to see the coordination of the KOO Tigers, because if we talk about, we spend a lot of time talking about, oh, the KOO Tigers are very weak in the early game, oh, they fall behind, but it's moments like this when you can really appreciate their play, which is that they are incredibly well coordinated in the mid game. The shot calling right there just to maximize Smeb's punishment. They get, of course, Hojin and Kuro into that topside jungle. And if Ambition goes in there, he's just dead. There's a lot of options for Smeb. He can still ult over the wall. He's perfectly safe. So they set up scenarios where there are just layers upon layers of protection for them in this game.
That was probably supposed to be Hawkshot.
Yes, it was.
It gives vision.
Oh, it does. You're right. It does give vision. Maybe Hawkshot was on cooldown. It's a minute cooldown now, guys.
Critical vision granted.
We'll give Space a benefit of the doubt. It was a calculated ultimate. Truly a zoning ult.
KOO Tigers play excellently when they're ahead or even in terms of power. It's just so regularly that isn't found till 40 minutes into the game because their mechanics, their laning phase is a really big weak point. Kuro this game, there was no action in the mid lane, and he's been 20 to 30 CS behind an Orianna in Farm Wars. This is just the reality of the KOO Tigers lineup. When they actually pick up the advantages, though, as Monte Cristo pointed out, they can really make impressive plays at 14 minutes. It is not often in that position.
Well, I mean, you ask Kuro, you're like, well, what do you do in the game? Do you get kills early? And Kuro just like, he shrugs. He's like, eh. He's like, do you win lane? And Kuro's like, nah, not really. I just kind of don't die. And that's really all KOO needs him to do.
Well, it's a crazy thing to have two players, first and second in their role for kills, despite being such a disparity in terms of their status. Carry laner is KOO. Kuro, his damage dealt is what? I believe 5% behind KOO, which in the grand scheme of things is actually a very large number. It's because he's there for the cleanup, he's there for the utility, but he just ends up picking up kills because they're a team-fighting team. Yep.
He's definitely the janitor of this team, man. The rest of the team makes a mess. He comes and cleans it up.
Vision looking for a gank here. I'm not sure that's really going to work. And there's Smeb.
Oh, that was inevitable.
This is starting to run off the rails here.
Yep. Nice little lead for KOO early on, and that Shyvana tied up in CS now. He's got the scimitar, or the cutlass rather, which is it's kind of a scimitar. Either way, he's got the advantage up the top lane.
They at least take away the Krug, so it's nice right there. Vision coming in with the smite over the wall.
It's like, leave that Scuttle Crab alone. Nobody listens to the Sentinels, though.
It's another scenario where ambitions on Evelyn can't help out KOO. KOO's in a farm lane doing very well, but if he doesn't have kill pressure, if he isn't significantly ahead of his opponent, I just don't see how CJ wins a game, just because they're so kind of one-dimensional and how much they're focused around facilitating KOO to carry.
Well, and even if they can, it's not like Ashe is going to be dealing anywhere near as much damage as when Space carries. And typically that's on Kog'Maw, when they run a lot of Kog'Maw protection compositions with Azir. And Space can just sit there and last hit for free.
You can understand why CJ have been playing a lot of Kog'Maw in Vayne, because just like a team like SK Telecom, KOO draws all the aggression from the enemy in a fight. It should open up space for Space to do his damage. But Ashe can get there. It's just so many times. It's arguably more than Kog'Maw to get online and be relevant as an Ashe.
Well, if KOO keeps extending their lead like they are, I don't think CJ's going to get to that point. 30 seconds until the next dragon. 35 actually. KOO was able to take the first one.
Yes, a bit of ward wars, and Mad Life in Space felt this the last time Dragon was up, and they have to back away.
Okay, he's going to zone him out of the turret.
Whoa, Gorilla, what are you doing, buddy? There we go. Fate's Call pulls him out, but that was a bit dangerous.
But they got the Shen ult out for that, so
I guess they did, yeah.
That was actually very much worth it for the KOO Tigers. They had the protection to go in, and they didn't know Evelyn was there, but look at that. Again, teleport, and
they're giving up the dragon.
Yep.
Oh, Ambition gets caught here by Kuro. Chilling Smite used, Agony's Embrace used. Oh, Ambition, when there's no Thresh Lantern, you have problems.
Let's recap what's been used. Shen ultimate, Shen teleport, and now the Evelyn ultimate just to get away.
Whoa, Flash Slicing Maelstrom. Gorilla low, but they're going to use it anyway. Nice knock up on the Mad Life. Solar Flare goes down, doesn't really hit anybody. There's a nice pick. Hojin in a little bit of trouble there. Manages to get out. A little bit of action up in top lane. Not going well for Shy. He's forced away yet again, and KOO can still turn around onto this dragon if they'd like to. Space has his ultimate.
They're going to wait for Hojin to void rush back in, but beyond that, they can keep split pushing right now. They have the global pressure. They're already winning in that top lane with that Blade of the Ruined King Shyvana, so this is all turning out about as well as KOO could hope. Now, this looks a lot like last game, except KOO has an even bigger gold advantage than in the last one. KOO did fumble around in that mid game.
Oh, KOO knocked up as well. He's got his flash. He uses it. Able to get away, but man, KOO is just...
the punishment from KOO is ridiculous.
They're taking away so many ults, taking away so many summoners. Smeb passed to Dragon's Descent away from the red buff pit. Did he get it though? I didn't see if he got it.
Ambition smited it.
Oh, okay.
laning power has forced Madlock to stay in the lane against Leona, and just a losing lane against so much lane bullying coming out from specifically the Cannon, but also Prey as well.
Yeah, you really want to lane you really want to roam as Leona, and if you can't do that, utility just goes way down. And KOO pushing the lanes. They're not really worried too much about this dragon. They've already got the first one, but they know they've got the opportunity right now to push other objectives. Now they finally get the dragon, but they got so much before that.
Well, why not? Just see what you can take during that downtime. There's not a whole lot to be said. They're going to try and take the blue buff. Meanwhile, CJ will respond across the map with an attempt of their own, and they're going to get it eventually, but no KOO here to facilitate that transfer. We'll see what Shen can do on the top side. Smeb going to be wanting to use that teleport, so they may have to trade a turret for this when all is said and done.
Super awkward when you have Leona, Evelyn, Shen, and you're still not really in a position to initiate the fights that you've clearly picked this comp for. Such is their disadvantage. 4,000 gold at only 20 minutes into the game. The pick power is just not working for CJ, and they're just watching KOO take over every little advantage they can around this minimap.
Such a massive CS differential, and we have to really credit Prey. We came in criticizing his positioning, criticizing his laning, rightly so. But he has really stepped it up with Gorilla in this series. And I think that part of that has been that KOO has been on, over the last several weeks, a transition to more bully lanes. We've seen the Kennen, we've seen the Lucian. The fade back, the step back from the Corki, I think has really actually helped the KOO Tigers.
And Gorilla's step back from roaming to sticking in lane with Prey has been a trump card. They are now a formidable 2v2 laning team, and they pick for it and execute on it impressively.
Yeah. Well, Gorilla trying to put more pressure onto Shy up in this top lane, pushing that up. Ojin trying to protect the mid lane here. Ambition is there. Looks like they'll be able to do it. Wow, they're going in.
Nice knock-up.
Triple knock-up with that Wild Growth. A double knock-up. There we go. Shockwave comes in, but here comes Smeb after that teleport. Going in and over the top. Gorilla with the slicing Maelstrom. Beautiful, beautiful team fight from the KOO Tigers. That was majestic, man.
And Space didn't fire the Enchanted Crystal arrow in there. I'm not sure if it would have helped, but I think you at least try. Meanwhile, Shy just couldn't even get his ult off in time to affect that team fight. But man, that was such a good engage from KOO.
It was poetry in motion. The communication was there. Just the different flanks they were coming for. Of all things, Gorilla coming for a flank on support, but that's the reality of the support cannon with the movement speed. Didn't even have flash up, was in position. They get a free Baron. And the KOO Tigers, where was this team all season?
Yeah, well, they've been a little bit up and down right there, but the coordination too. Smeb right there at the end of the Shockwave, flashes after Ambition to get the kill. Gorilla even wrapping it from behind on the dive.
They had like multiple levels of flanking going on in that engage. That was incredible. Oh, goodbye, Shy. Dead.
That level of flanking is incredibly difficult to do in League of Legends.
Prey still might be caught here. It's both Ambition and KOO.
Space also died at some point too, and Gorilla did as well. Weird stuff happened during that replay. Looks like Prey's going to get away. So Space died. Gorilla died.
The item disparity, Monte Cristo. Look at the items for Ashe and compare them to Kalista. It's just disgusting, the advantage we're seeing in terms of effective items. Not even the first item, not even the Infinity Edge, compared to the 2-item core for Kalista.
That was where we were before the last team fight.
Yeah.
So we're in exactly the same place, except actually Space got a crit cloak.
It's
ridiculous.
The
only difference.
But Space is auto-attacking a Shyvana that has Blade and Magic resist and doing no damage. That's a scary thought.
It is. Top turret goes down in favor of CJ, so they at least get one, but there's still 4 turrets behind.
10,000 gold.
10,000 gold.
10,000 gold. That is one of the biggest leads we've had all season here.
Yeah, for this point in the game, yeah, that's absolutely true. And Smeb, this is what I thought happened. Smeb is just, he's just styling on people at this point. The Shyvana doing a lot of work. Meanwhile, Gorilla going to die in the top lane, but it comes at the price of Shy's own life. So if you're the KOO Tigers, you'll be happy to have that trade. No, the Shen on the map means a lot less danger for your teammates.
Yeah, true enough. Praying Gorilla still pushing that top lane right now.
Fight on different fronts. They have 2 Aegises already. One of them going to be a Locket. One of them going to be the Banner of Command to keep the split pushing theory.
Trying to catch Gorilla. Zenith Blade doesn't land, though. KOO coming down. They can't quite get to him with any of those skill shots. Oh, the arrow hits him, though. Fate's call. hard CC doesn't work against supports that are near their Kalista.
KOO is being so aggressive without even the teleport available from Smeb. They can't even fight 5v5, and they don't care.
Nope, just back off as soon as they can do it. They just need Smeb to do some work on this inhibitor. He's got the empowered minions from the Baron. Shy, very poor at clearing those out.
Oh, they're going to try to make a plan to space
Hello.
here. Whoa, Smeb over the wall. Uh-oh, Space a lot of trouble here.
Bye-bye.
And Shen can't even get onto him. Goodbye, Ambition. Nice wild growth as well. Keeps Shyvana nice and healthy. Kuro got low here, but he's way in the back. Oh, never mind. Hello. Madlife and KOO come in to try something. Solar Flare lands, and Madlife will pay for it. Shockwave has no follow-up. Goodbye, Shy. Gets low as well. 2-Force out of that fight. Manages to make it back to Fountain. But it's still a big win for KOO. They're going to get an inhibitor out of this for sure.
The only time we've seen this KOO in recent memory was styling on Spenu in the last game of the regular season. Monty and I wondered if we'd ever see this, and we pointed out, okay, it's only Spenu, but this is CJ, and this is the exact same KOO Tigers. They're just running all over CJ Entus.
I really like the fact that we're seeing these KOO Tigers because they just... Can they keep this up? Can they sustain this level of teamwork? Who the hell knows? Because it's been such a rocky season. You go from 8 best-of-3 win streaks to a loss to SK Telecom and a big nosedive towards the end. Now they're starting to pick it up again. But when the KOO Tigers are on point, it's really beautiful, the communication that this team has. They are definitely one of the most coordinated teams in the world when they're on their game.
Well, and Hojin is all over them. There's a wild growth for the knockup. Actually, a lot of people getting low already onto CJ. Hojin getting very aggressive. Here comes Smeb from the side. That's a bit crazy. Shockwave hits nobody, though, as Smeb takes out KOO. That's 2 more kills. I guess they can just do that now.
I should not have doubted Smeb.
13,000 gold ahead. You can do whatever the hell you want.
I guess so. Wow. All right.
The big resurgence, though, those 8 best-of-3 wins weren't even against really top-tier teams, and now they're against CJ Entus. This game's going to end right now.
We'll see. I mean, CJ doesn't really look like there's anything they can do. I guess you're right. There goes Nexus turret number 2. They're going to try to make a play here. Smeb just backing away. Solar Flare hits Hojin squarely, but Bray dancing around. He's playing DDR on heavy, and he is getting a perfect score. There goes the Nexus, and KOO jumps out to a 2-0 lead.
You really have to credit Smeb with a lot of that win. His flank positioning, his teleport usage, his ability to play from behind and still make the biggest impact. Absolutely outstanding Shyvana play. They were ready for CJ's Shen. That is for sure.
Yeah.
He's a carry laner. He's the only player in this game that often averages 100 gold ahead of the opponents at 10 minutes.